Hi, it's Nicole and Katie. We're here with your instruction for the final portfolio of the semester. Now that you've written your 4 papers, you are going to be assembling all of them into a final portfolio.
Which we call a magazine.
Right. You're required to revise all 4 of your papers, and by revise we mean substantial revisions. And you are going to use our comments from the time that you turn the paper in, plus the assignment descriptions, and the advice that you will learn from this unit on revision to revise your papers.
Revision is an important part, in fact, the most important part of the writing process. If you don't revise, you're not getting much out of the writing process. So to preface what we're about to say about the magazine, I'm going to read a few tidbits from Donald Murray's book, The Craft of Revision, so that you get the idea, okay? So here's the myth. The writer sits down, turns on the faucet, and writing pours out. Clean, graceful, correct, ready for the printer. The reality, the writer gets something, anything down on paper, reads it, tries it again, rereads it, rewrites again and again. For years, Donald Murray denied this reality, and he held firm to 3 beliefs. The final draft was the best. Good writing was spontaneous writing. How many of you have thought that? I've certainly been guilty of that, and I'm sure Nicole has too. Rewriting was punishment for failure. The editor or teacher who required revision was a bad reader who had no respect for my spontaneous writing. Revision was a matter of superficial correction that forced my natural style to conform to an old-fashioned, inferior style. No one challenged Donald's, when I say my, I mean Donald's, my literary theology. Editors simply didn't publish my writing, and I needed to get published. I wanted to eat. Bob Johnson of the Saturday Evening Post, then the leading freelance market, liked what was in the article of mine. He said they would hire a writer to fix it up. It's really not a writer's job to fix up another writer's work. Maybe clean it up, but not fix it. Okay? So you need to look at revision, not as some of the things that Donald Murray used to think of writing as, and not as some of the things that you probably agreed with Murray about. You need to rewrite. Part of the writing process is making sure that you're making sense to your readers, that your meaning is clear, and that your language, word choice, and all of those other things that comprise the writing process add and enhance to your meaning, and that you're getting your point across without the reader having to wade through a bunch of clutter or vague verbs, vague nouns, all of those other things that you've probably seen as comments on your paper.
Revision is so important that that's why this final portfolio is worth half of your grade, because you've already done all the hard work writing, the first drafts of your papers, and now, revision is also challenging, but you have a lot of text to work with, and so in the revision process, you can do a lot to improve your papers, and that's why we're giving you, half your points for the semester for your final portfolio, because revision is that important, and you have the opportunity to take your writing, whatever level it was graded at when you first submitted it, and turn it into something totally awesome using all the tools that you're going to get during this revision unit when you read all the advice from the different sources that we've compiled for you.
And just to highlight some of the important aspects of revision, I'm going to go over Donald Murray's revision checklist. So you need to ask yourself these questions when you're revising your papers. Is it specific? What do you need to fix in order for the readers to have a clear understanding of what you're trying to get across in your papers? Is it true? Are you using accurate sources, and are you integrating them into your own ideas, your own points, claims, explanations, those other things, so that you're having a conversation not only with your readers but also with the sources that you're using. Is it me? Are you using your own writing style while at the same time maintaining an academic tone? So don't try to use fluffy, overblown words to try to sound smart when your tone will come across, or your tone tends to be the 2-cent word over the 10-cent word in order to make sure that your meaning's clear. If that's the case, make sure that you're using the simpler word that will make readers appreciate that you're talking to them on a level that they can understand, while at the same time not trying to sound overblown and fluffy. Does it fit? Is what you're writing about, does it fit with the genre that you're writing in? If not, then you're going to need to go back and reread the assignment description to make sure that the papers that you're revising meet all of the requirements for that genre and for that specific paper assignment. Is it clear? Your meaning in all of your sentences, all of your paragraphs takes place in your verbs and nouns. If you use unclear verbs, unclear nouns, clutter your paper with a lot of to-be verbs or very nonspecific verbs, your meaning is not going to be clear to your readers, and they're going to have to wade through either their own background information on what you're writing about or through your entire paper, and they'll interpret what they think you mean by it, and that's not the reader's job. Your job as a writer is to make all of that clear to them.
Pronouns. Don't use vague pronouns.
Yes.
Just replace them with specific nouns. It makes everything easier.
Will the reader read? If the reader gets frustrated in your first paragraph about what it is exactly that you're trying to talk about, they're probably not going to want to read on. Furthermore, if you don't care about what you're writing about and researching, your reader's not likely to care about what you've been researching and writing about. Does it advance the meaning? Are you adding to the conversation instead of just rehashing or regurgitating old arguments, old information from various sources that you like to use in your private life, in your public life, or in your academic life? Make sure that you're adding something, not just regurgitating things that you've listened to, read, or seen. Does it use tradition? There is a certain tradition in any kind of writing that's based on culture, academics, even politics, all of those kinds of things. Some of the stuff that you've been writing has to follow a certain tradition, like using academic tone and proper MLA format. If you're not fitting within those kinds of traditions, you're still not meeting the requirements of the genre. So just go back and make sure that you're understanding what MLA format entails and what academic tone entails. It entails not using you. And does it flow? Does everything have a logical flow to it? Or are you jumping around a lot? If you're jumping around a lot, the paper's not going to flow. So all of your sentences, all of your paragraphs, and the entire paper need to make connections within the points that you're making, or among the points that you're making, and the explanations that you're trying to give to readers. If you jump around a lot, the reader's probably going to have to backtrack to understand how you got to whatever point it is you're on from having been on another point that you didn't clearly explain. So with all of this having been said, you shouldn't think of this as a scary process. Like Nicole said, it's your opportunity to show how you've learned about the writing process throughout the semester and apply that to the magazine. So this is your opportunity to take all of the information that you've learned about the genres, about the writing process, about how to transition, how to incorporate evidence, how to use specific, clear word choice, how to use MLA format, all of those different elements that comprise the writing process in a composition course. This is your opportunity to shine. So instead of looking at it as something that's scary, look at it as something that will help you build on your writing knowledge and possibly ace the course.
Yeah, it will improve your grade.